Good morning. How was that for a
Hello.
grand entrance, Malcolm?
It was a bit. It's like that THX sound, you know, the ones that go.
Oh yeah, the Cinemas.
Mhm. Woke me up. Hello, mate.
You had a good morning.
Yeah, I have. Yes, yeah, I have. I had a busy day yesterday, so I'm just kind of getting over that. But yeah, I had a good morning. Thank you very much. Looking forward to talking to you.
Oh, always look forward to talking to you, mate. You know that. Yeah. So
what's been going on? What's news?
well, Steph had his live this morning where he was working on a zero.
Oh, good. How does that go? Let's see that.
I think he'll probably tell you in the comments at some point. But
yeah,
he went well. He's done well. He's got quite far with it now.
Cool. Are you going to be at Scale Model World?
I am. Me and the wife have booked a hotel for the weekend.
Oh, good. So we're planning on having a big row of those zeros, 1/18 scale zeros at Scale Model World on the Model Spheres table, which is going to be heavy. But I don't think anyone would ever have seen that many 1/18 scale of anything in a row.
With the weight of them, is it going to be worth putting some breeze blocks under the table or something?
I've been told that the weight won't be a problem. The show manager, Richard Middleton, has physically weighed one, with his hands, and he went, "Oh, that'll be right."
Yeah. He does realise how heavy these things are, right?
He does. No, he lifted it up, and he went, "Yeah, that's heavy, but yeah, it'll be fine." And it'll be 2.5 to a table.
Yeah.
And we've got 4 tables, so we reckon we can fit about 9, maybe 10, depending on if they've all got the bases on or something.
Yeah.
It's going to be great. It's going to be good. It's going to be good. Lots of photographs of zeros coming out of Telford, I hope.
Yeah. That should be good. It'd be good to see them on the Models Heroes page as well.
Yes. Yeah, it will be. Yeah.
Yeah. So, welcome to Bearded Veteran Creates. Put my teeth back in. Welcome to Bearded Veteran Creates, Malcolm. I don't think you've been on here before.
I don't think I have.
No.
Which is weird. Yeah, I've been talking to you for a couple of years, on and off here and there, in different platforms, and we play D&D together, and yeah, I'm on your Discord, and I watch your show when I can, as I do with everyone's YouTube channels. If I've got some time that I can just listen to a YouTube video, I'll pop one of yours on, or anyone's. But yeah.
So what we're going to do is I'm going to ask you some questions and things, and talk through a bit about you, a bit about the history behind Models Heroes and what you do as an organization.
Yeah.
Then we'll go on to if you've got any questions for me, some audience questions, and then maybe do a bit of modeling if you've got time.
Yeah, brilliant. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I've got a few hours plus all decked aside just for you. So, and your listeners.
Oh yeah, there's 20 of them so far.
Oh, at least 20. Crikey.
Yeah. Let's just hope they all stay here. And like the channel on the video.
One of them's my mum, no doubt.
I think one of them is probably my wife, although she's in the kitchen at the minute, because I can hear her popping around in the kitchen.
That's good to have some support, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, you'll get to meet her at Telford as well.
Yeah, that'd be great. Can't wait.
Yeah.
Can't wait at all.
She's looking forward to meeting all you lot.
Dear. Well, we'll change that pretty quickly, won't we?
She's I was writing the questions the other night, and she said, "Who are the questions for?" And I said, "Malcolm." She went, "Which one's Malcolm?" And I went, "When you go to Telford, you can't miss him. He's the only one you can see standing above everyone else." And she went, "Oh, that one."
The little one.
Yeah.
We have 2 Malcolms in Models for Heroes in the directors and the committee meetings, and I'm referred as Big Malk, and he's referred to as what you think would be Little Malk, but I refer to him as Ugly Malk because I'm much better looking than he is.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we're here today to talk about Models Heroes, obviously, but I'll know a little bit about you first, if that's all right.
Yeah.
So tell me about young Malcolm. Where did he grow up? What sort of interest did he have?
Model making from early age, honestly. I would spend pocket money on Airfix kits and things like that. And then I asked for my birthday. I would, model making with my thing. I wasn't much of an outdoorsy boy. And my dad was a railway enthusiast. So we would always be, the house would always be full of models, bits and pieces and that. But he was a kind of railway enthusiast who liked the idea of making models, but never really made much. But he liked to have all the gear to do so. I bet he was quite happy to encourage me with my interests. So I was always building aircraft and stuff. Because we went to a lot of air shows when we were younger. So it was nice to build the aircraft that you saw flying about. But yeah, that's pretty much what I was doing when I was young.
Can you remember how old you were when you first made a model kit?
No, I don't know. I remember being, I think, 7, and I had a Westland Whirlwind Matchbox kit, I think it was. And then I remember being, I think I was 10 when I had a F-14 Tomcat, like a big Revell one, and I painted it bright, shiny gloss blue, and it was awful. I don't know why I painted it that. I think I wanted to make it into one of those Blue Angels, the American aerobatics team.
Yeah.
But I had the wrong aircraft, so I still painted it shiny blue, and it was awful and terrible. But I remember that. It's
the joy of being a kid, and it doesn't matter if it's the wrong aircraft; it's what's in your imagination.
I suppose so. Yes, but I do remember it. I remember it because it was awful, not because it was good.
Did you have any help with your first models?
Yeah, I would. So, my dad's friend, my neighbor, he would come over and he'd be interested in models, and I said my dad as well. I grew up with my sister, and she was not interested whatsoever. So. But I've always, been a big fan of small things and building small things and focusing on little things. The same with figure painting as well. It's not just scale modeling; it's making little things.
Little nerdy things.
Little nerdy things. Yeah. All that nerdy. It's very cool. Super cool.
Of course it is. What sort of kits did you tend to gravitate towards when you were younger?
Aircraft. Yeah, aircraft and small ones, because 1, they don't take much space up, and 2, they don't cost much comparatively. So 1/72nd aircraft usually. Stuff that I would see at air shows with my old man. I remember watching 2 Lightnings take off at the very end of an air show, and was standing there at the runway, and there's 2 Lightnings went by, and I thought I was going to die because the amount of noise. They take off, and then they just disappear into the clouds. Like, I've never seen an aircraft just go, and then all you can see is little afterburners disappear, and that's it. At the end of the show, you go home now. And I just left kind of like, well, I've never seen anything as cool as that. And of course, then I had to go and build a Lightning to and hang it on my ceiling so I can remember that well until I'm 48 now. So I remembered it for a long time.
I think that's one of my memories. First memories of, especially of jets when I was a kid, was going to Llandudno air show and seeing the tornado flying along the beach and then going vertical. And just the immense roar of the engines.
Yeah. There's someone in that, right?
Yeah.
There's someone in there.
They're surviving this?
I know. It's amazing, isn't it? It really is. The amount of power that these things have got.
Yeah.
Especially when you're a kid. You didn't see anything like that before. So it's very cool. But interesting. I didn't really see any tanks at all. So I'm not very interested in armor until later. But yeah, aircraft is definitely the thing. And also I was kind of into Warhammer and fantasy stuff, and like any proper nerd is. I was into Epic, Warhammer Epic. I was in an RAF Brampton wargaming club for quite a few many years. We played what was called Epic in those days. Yeah, it's good fun.
Cool. I know back in January you finished a really nice diorama of the 747 carrying the space shuttle.
Yeah, I did.
If I remember correctly, your dad gave you it, and you based it on a day out where he took you to see the real thing in 1983.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think those kind of childhood days out were something that fueled your passion for scale modeling over the years?
Yeah, absolutely. Like I said, like the air shows, definitely. I mean, even now, you know. So I built that. I built that this year, didn't I? At the beginning of the year. And yeah, it's just a very strong memory that I have. And it's nice to explore that memory by building a model of it.
Yeah.
Right. That's a shame I don't have a picture of it ready, but I remember being in the crowd and watching this 747 carrying the shuttle taxiing in. I remember it being really loud. And I remember it was a really hot day and we were there for a long time. We practically got there like the first people there, thinking we'd be at the front, but because we were the first people there, we were the first home. But that was good. But yeah, it was just incredible. It's amazing. You don't get to see space shuttles with your own eyes if you live in England. You know, it doesn't happen. And this was like a once in a lifetime kind of opportunity, so it was really exciting for everybody.
Yeah.
And that was back in the 80s.
Yeah, 83.
83. So looking at the photographs that my dad took and the photographs in the press at the time, the clothing choices were fantastic.
They're very bright, weren't they?
Yeah. Nobody had a mobile phone, obviously. No, hardly anyone had a camera, and if they did have a camera, it was huge.
Yeah.
Or
one of those little film point and shoots.
Well, I mean, they were expensive as well, if I remember rightly. Those days, you know, 35mm film was expensive, and so was getting it developed. You know, you had to go into a shop to go and get it developed, didn't you? But yeah, I remember that I didn't have a camera at the time. But it's funny, if you did have a camera, you had all the camera, you had all the lenses, you had a tripod, you know, you basically carried a small child around with you all the time.
Well, I do that now when I go out with my camera.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, but I mean, in them days, you know, nowadays everyone's got a camera in their pocket, aren't they? Snap away. But yeah, it was nice to explore that memory with that model in that scale.
Yeah. So, were they sort of something your family enjoyed going to do those sorts of day outs, or was it sort of a passion for you and your dad, and your mum and sister just got roped into it, sort of thing?
Yeah, probably. Yeah, I think my mum and my sister would have been dragged along. There's a photograph of my sister in the car park. She don't look happy. Don't look happy. Well, what's funny about it is that photograph is that she's standing there. You know, she's probably 2. You can see her nappy. She's just kind of really grumpy. And she's out of focus. She's in the foreground. She's out of focus. But the space shuttle behind her is perfectly in focus. It's great
priorities.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. But yeah, I think they were dragged along. But you know, I was probably dragged along to things that I didn't want to go to too. So it was nice to go to things that were nerdy for me and my dad to go and enjoy. You know? Yeah.
So moving on a few years now, just prior to March 2017, what was life like at the time? How did a typical day in the life of Malcolm go?
So I was stay-at-home dad. All right. So my daughter, first daughter, was born in 2010, and then me and the wife decided that I wasn't earning as much money, or at least as much money regularly as she was, because she had a permanent job and I was just freelance. So I decided to be the stay-at-home dad, and she would carry on with her career. And that worked out great. Really, really good. My modeling took a hit in terms of what I was able to do and what was able to leave out with the child. But yeah, I was stay-at-home dad for 5 years, and then we had another child as well. So I continued to be a stay-at-home dad. We timed it just rightly. But once my youngest went to school, then I was like, well, I need to go and get a job now. I need to go and do something. So I started volunteering at Help for Heroes. Yeah, that was beginning of 2017, I think. Probably.
It was March 2017, according to my research.
Good Lord.
So that comes around, and it must have seemed like a pretty insignificant decision in terms of life choices to volunteer, go and do some volunteer work.
Yeah, it did. It just felt like the thing that you do.
Yeah.
Right. If you want to fill in your gaps of your CV and have a conversation with an employer, they're going to say, right, what did you do between March 2017 and this time? And I wanted to fill it with something, or a story or something. So I thought, well, there's a recovery center. There was a recovery center near my house ish. It's about half an hour's drive away, and they were always looking for volunteers, and I think I had it in my back of my mind that I'd do it, one day if I had the time, and etc. And I just phoned them up and said, "Can I volunteer?" And they said, "Sure. What can you do?" And apart from look after children, which is something I didn't want to do anyway as a career, I just told them all the things that I did, and model making was one of the activities that they ran down there. And so I just started doing that basically. But yeah, it was pretty insignificant at the time because it was just something to fill in the time.
Yeah.
Right. That was what it was. I'll give something back as well. But it was mostly selfish. So I wanted to do something in that time and have something to show for it. So, so I'm still doing stuff like that. I got quite a big chunk of CV now. It's actually quite significant.
So, how did you go from that, like we said, a seemingly insignificant decision where you just wanted to fill your CV to thinking, hang on, I can use this for good? What happened there?
I use it for good. Yeah, well, so my first day, let's say, helping out the model making activity was interesting in that being a model maker, as you and I will know, and many of your listeners, you need certain tools and certain things, and you need the things to work completely correctly. Otherwise, it's very difficult to do what you're doing. And the better tools you have, and the more experience you have, the better you can do. The better the kits you have, the better job you can make, all that sort of thing, right? They had in their box of models, their cupboard of models. All the models in there were started kits, right?
Yeah.
So they'd open a box, and in there would be bits, and there would be bits of paint, and there also some parts would be glued together. It might not have the instructions anymore. So that was all of the model kits they had in there. Their paints were non-existent. I think about 3 or 4 paints, and they all dried up. They had enamel thinners and acrylic paints. All their paintbrushes look like they come from Mary Poppins. They're like chimney sweep things. And there's no way nobody could ever start and enjoy a hobby when the resources were not up to scratch, right? Yeah. So you need to have someone say, right, this is your model kit. This is yours. You get to build it from beginning to end. These are your instructions. These are some nice tools that do the job, and someone to show you how to do it. Because that's the other thing, is they didn't have anyone there who knew what they were doing in terms of model making. How the glue works, and how to follow the instructions, and the parts have got numbers and all those kind of things. They don't really tell you on the boxes. But they obviously knew that there was something in it. Otherwise, they wouldn't have offered the activity.
Yeah.
They did other things like bookbinding, but they'd have someone coming in to tell them how to do it. They'd have art, and they had a resident artist in there. So my kind of idea was like pitch to them to say, look, I'll come in very regularly and run a modeling session regularly, and I'll run a modeling club, and we'll do the rolling recovery program activities. We can offer modeling as well. And that's where it started. Yeah.
So I know from looking into the Models Heroes history and things, it was Models Heroes part of it came about very, very quickly after that, didn't it?
Yeah, it was pretty quick. So we had a lot of sessions were really deep, let's say, right? So a lot of the veterans there were opening up more than in other activities. They were talking about their experiences. They're talking about the vehicles they liked. They're talking about the tanks they worked on, in service, where they hadn't really opened up at the place much or connected with anything other than the model making. The model making was quite powerful.
Yeah.
And because of that, it was, the occupational therapists there noticed this and kind of pushed it. So we did more model making. And of course, I brought all my models from home, not all of them, but I brought a significant stash of models from my own home and my paints and stuff like that, and build their stock up of stuff.
Yeah.
It was really good. It grew very quickly. The reason it grew, I think, is just because of the success of people enjoying it and getting more out of their day, but also the news spread to other recovery centers as well, and so they all wanted to have model making too.